Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to show you how I painted this cute little blue tit bird with watercolors. This is a faster version of this painting, but a full real-time tutorial with voiceover is already available on my Patreon, the link of which is in the description box. So let's get started. I've painted this on Archer's hot pressed 140 pounds watercolor paper, and I'm using all my miniature brushes for this painting. So I always start with the eye, so I'm painting the highlight, which is the lightest part of the eye, with Cobalt Blue, a very watery version of Cobalt Blue. Next, I take my grey for the outer rim of the eye. In my Basset Hound dog video, you can see how I mix this grey color. So I'm using a very fine tip of my brush to paint this. You can even go under the black iris of the eye with this grey color. Now while that dries, let's paint the beak. So I'm mixing some blue with grey, very watery consistency. So I'll be leaving those white lighter gaps. Same thing on the bottom beak. If you have any water droplets on your brush, just wipe it off, otherwise they'll accidentally drop on your painting. Now for the very darkest shadow, I'm using lamp black, and then I'll just blend it with the background. Now this area looks dry, so I'll take lamp black, a little darker, more in creamy consistency, and I'll be painting the iris of the eye, carefully working around the highlight. You can downsize your brush if you want. And then with the grey, I'll just blend it with the background. Similarly, I'll give a second layer on the beak, just making it a little bit more darker. And with a damp brush, I'm just going to soften that line off. Same thing here, just darkening the shadow. And this light part will also get a little bit of that grey color. So next, let's start working on the head. So I'll be taking this light grey, very watery grey, and I'll be working with very thin lines like this. Okay, and I've downsized my brush to number 1. And I'll work around the eye first. So this grey will be a good base shadow for all the darker blues around the eye. So working with very small strokes and always painting in the direction in which you can see the feathers on the reference picture. Similarly on this side. Work with the lightest color you see in that area, and then we'll be building up the layers. So this color will go in all the shadowy regions of the white part of the face. We cannot leave the face completely white. Now I'm also going to take Winsor Violet, very watery, and this will go here on the outer edge feathers. So similarly, I finished with this grey and violet on the white part of the face. And now I'm starting with the top of the head region. So I'm taking Cobalt Blue, and with very light strokes I'm filling up that area, because this is the lightest highlight that I can see in that region. And then from here we'll be putting on more darker colors on top of it. It's very important to let each and every layer dry before you go in with more darker colors. This will also prevent your paper from getting damaged, and you will not be mudding the layers and the colors also. So now with the darker grayish blue mixture, I just go in all the darker areas, working with very tiny strokes, even under the beak in the chin area. Similarly, I work on the back of the neck with the lightest blue, and again I'm maintaining the direction and the length of the feathers that I'm able to see on the reference picture. This is very important when you're doing any animal or bird fur or feathers. I let every layer dry completely before going on with a layer of another color. So now with the lifting brush, I'm just going to lift off the highlights, or you can lift off if any area have got a little bit more darker than you desired. So you can just lift off some of those parts as well. Next I'm taking Phthalocyanine Blue, and I'll be giving a glaze of this color just to brighten up the brightest parts on the top of the head. So whenever you're glazing with any color, use a very watery transparent wash, and the layer below should be completely dry. The same color will be also applied on the neck blues as well. And I'm further darkening these areas. I'm just adjusting all the tonal values now. So this is my finishing stage where I go over smallest details that I can see and smallest shifts of values as well. So once the head is done, I start with the belly region. Before applying yellows, I like to put all my shadow colors first. So here I'm mixing some blue violet, this is from Sennelier, to my grey mix. And now I'll paint all the shadow areas, just squinting my eye and concentrating on all the darker areas that I'm able to see on the reference picture. Again, following the direction of those feathers, the length, everything is very important. And I use some blues and violets for the reflected light in the whiter region at the bottom. Even for this very dark region, I start off with a light gray, and then with many layers I make it more dark. So I let this shadow region completely dry, and now I'll just erase off all the unwanted pencil lines. Now for the yellows, I'm using Aureolin, this is from Winsor & Newton, and I'll not be glazing the whole body yellow. As you can see, we have a lot of white highlights, so I'll be leaving some of the whites while painting with yellow. Let this layer also completely dry. Now for the very shiny, shadowy areas, I'm going to use green gold, especially here. And even here, under the wing. So this color will only go where I can see that type of a shine. And I again go in with Aureolin and fill up the lightest areas except the very bright white highlights. I leave that to dry give many layers, and now I start with the wing. So I've turned my board so that I can comfortably put all those very thin lines. I've downsized my brush to 5x0 and using a very dark grey mix, I'm painting all the dark shadow lines which are there in between the wings. Then I take a mixture of cobalt blue and phthalocyanine blue with a little bit of gray for all the bright blue color. And in this way, I finish off the entire wing. I've used Winsor Violet as well. So very carefully, take your time whenever you're doing very thin lines. So here again, I'm just adjusting all the tonal values, giving a finishing touch to the wing, to the belly part. Then I finish the legs and the iron railing on which it is sitting, and in the end, this is optional. I use a white colored pencil to enhance some of the highlights. So if you enjoyed this tutorial, then kindly like this video and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. So see you in the next one. Bye bye.